News last night that the Black Lives Matter. Of course, you saw that slogan on back of the T-shirts of the players, and also the taking of the knee. And then after the match, we discovered that Oriel College in Oxford is to now plan to take down that statue of Cecil Rhodes, the apparently offending statue of the former Prime Minister of the Cape Colonies, now South Africa. Of course, someone who was a white supremacist at the time. I hate to tell you, an awful lot of people were at the time, but the cancel culture continues. Well, to discuss all of this is Brendan O'Neill, who's the editor of Spiked Online. Good morning to you, Brendan.
Hi, Julia.
Just when you think that life's getting back to normal, there's a football match to watch, people are getting more concerned about let's get back with ordinary life. We are back to the culture wars. Let's talk first, if we can, about the Rhodes statue. Now, I'm thinking, I'm going to guess most people don't really have any knowledge or much interest in Cecil Rhodes. I spent 3 years at Oxford walking past that statue or a college. I don't think I ever even noticed it. It wasn't an issue at the time, and yet weirdly, he was still a white supremacist at that time, and yet somehow it didn't affect me or anyone else I knew, black or white, because that statue was there. Should the statue come down or not?
I don't think it should, because I think, as you say, Cecil Rhodes was a white supremacist, as many people were back in those days. He was a colonialist. He did very bad things. But the idea that you can just rip down history or erase inconvenient figures from the past is simply infantile and stupid and patronising. You know, the most patronising thing about the whole Cecil Rhodes at Oxford fuss is this notion that black students can't walk past this statue without feeling wounded by it. And people openly say that. They will openly say this statue is a form of violence against black students in particular. That is deeply patronising to black students. That suggests that they don't have the same capability as white students to negotiate the public realm, to negotiate campus life, without feeling continually offended and hurt. So I think it's a continuation on steroids of the victim culture that we've seen growing in recent years, where everything is now deemed to be offensive.
Well, indeed, and what's interesting, of course, is the I don't hold a candle for Cecil Rhodes at all. His views are absolutely opposite to mine, but he did set up this scholarship, this very famous Rhodes Scholarship. And the likes of Bill Clinton have been beneficiaries of that, and their scholarships are open to people of all backgrounds. And indeed, there are a large number. The reason this campaign came to UK was after South Africa brought down statues of him in South Africa. Ethnic minority, black pupils, black students on those scholarships here in the UK at Oxford, saying that the statue should come down, but were happy to take his money. They wanted to have the white supremacist money for their scholarship, for their studies, and to take and these are very, very high status. I mean, you have that on your CV. That really marks you out. But then they wanted to topple his statue. I mean, talk about hypocrisy.
Complete hypocrisy. I mean, just imagine what the vast majority of ordinary people who will never become Rhodes scholars or have anything to do with that fund. Imagine what they think when they look at this. When some of the most privileged young people on earth who going to one of the best universities that has ever existed, having a fine life of learning and relaxing and fun, and then they rage against this statue and say that it's destroying their life. They just look mad, I think, to most normal people.
I agree with you.
Oxford, I think, is really messing up on the whole racism issue at the moment, because it's now announced that they will give special dispensation to any student who feels affected by the murder of George Floyd, and will allow them to either retake exams or to be given special consideration in their grading for their exams. Let's get real, right? Everyone was shocked by the death of George Floyd, but this was a killing that took place 4,000 miles away. It had nothing to do with the UK. The idea that students at Oxford need some special help to get over the trauma of watching that horrible video, that is pandering to a ridiculous modern culture of victimhood and can sneak out of their responsibility.
Can students get a dispensation and be given higher grades for lower quality work if they were upset by the fact, the Chinese authorities having concentration camps for 1 million Muslims? I mean, I'm finding that pretty disgusting. The treatment of Hong Kong protesters for democracy as well. It's extraordinary that on this one subject, apparently, this is uniquely affecting people. I mean, also the announcement today, Lloyd's of London, the pub chain Green King, which from many, many years back benefited from the slave trade, are now going to pay large sums of money to black and ethnic minority charities to sort of atone for their sins in the past. I mean, it's never ending, this, because the reality is no one right now, who has the same values really as the vast majority of people 50, 100, 200 years ago. No one in the past is going to live up to our morals today. Our morals today, they won't live up to scrutiny in 100 years' time.
Absolutely, and that's the issue at hand, I think. We have a really strange relationship with the past at the moment. And
Not we, a small minority of loud people that no one's standing up to.
That's right. A small minority have a very odd relationship with the past. They see history as this oppressive force constantly shaping us and damaging us in the present, which is a completely bizarre idea. I really dislike the idea of reparations. It locks minority groups into an ugly relationship with history where they have to be compensated for things that were never done to them and which we never did. The thing I really dislike about the current Black Lives Matter influence discussion, all white people are depicted as evil, horrible sinners who must atone for the wrongs of the past, and all black people are depicted as victims who are still being impacted by the past. But the bottom line is, I have never owned a slave. I find slavery repulsive. Black people living today in the UK have never been slaves. And that has got to be the starting point of the relationship. We've got to forget what happened 400 years ago.
And the vast majority of people in America and the UK who were white also did not own slaves and did not benefit. This was a few very rich people. No one else benefited from it. Let me also ask you finally about the football last night. Players on all 4 teams playing last night wore Black Lives Matters on the back of their shirts instead of their names. They also all took the knee. What do you think would have happened to a player who said, I don't want to have that slogan on my shirt and I don't want to take the knee?
Any footballer who said that would be out. They would be utterly demonised. They would be called racist. They would be called every name under the sun. And I don't think their career would survive. That is how intense the conformism around Black Lives Matter has become. And the taking the knee is so amazingly symbolic because basically they're saying bow down to us and bow down to our political agenda. But the truth is, I have never met anyone who doesn't agree that Black Lives matter and that they matter as much as everyone else's life. But there are political ideas behind the Black Lives Matter movement that many people are opposed to and many people want to criticise and many people don't want to have on the back of their top. That doesn't make them racist. It just makes them a critical